brand can feel big and like unclearly defined. So what does brand actually mean to you? And did you build it intentionally, or was this sort of an accident and then you got to take credit for it?
I think when I started, I really didn't have a business. So I was starting from scratch, and I looked at all of the top brokers and I thought, wow, but there was I wanted something a little bit more, not sophisticated, but more streamlined. I wanted it to look like we'd been doing it forever. I didn't want to be the rookie of the year. I tried to build it up as if I'd been doing it forever. People would say, how long have you been doing this? And I'd say, feels like forever. So I didn't have to lie. And the idea is just to sort of differentiate myself. So there was an international component that I utilized when I had no listings. I had friends who had listings in Australia and overseas in Europe, and I put them on the website. So the brand was more international reach, more exposure, and sort of creating this very sleek idea. And it's for branding, I think you have to decide who your reach is, who you're actually going after. For me, the fantasy, I'd come from a world of ballet where there was just point shoes, and I actually wanted to touch base with banking, tech, financial segments of the market. I wanted attorneys, I wanted women, I wanted men, I wanted it all. And so I had this very global idea of making it much more less specific to one city, but a brand that could reach. And that was sort of the methodology of how I chose the colors, chose the watermark, what our original tag was premium properties, powerful presence, and then we reshaped it to the source. But if you're a new agent and you're looking, you first have to decide what is authentic, I hate that word, but what is authentic to you? Who are you in the business? What do you want to be seen as? How would you like to see yourself as the empowered person that you want to be? And then everything backs into that.
I love that. So you would define your brand as an international perspective on real estate.
Reach.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm sitting in the audience right now, and I'm like, this is great. I'm pretty clear that brand is important. Thanks so much. But I don't have one, and I don't even know where to start, and I don't know who I am, and I don't know how to define that. And Frances, what about you? How do I decide what my brand is, and then what do I do after that?
For me, it started with what was emblematic of us. You have to crystallize it. Some people like certain colors, some people like certain looks. I wanted a more, because we're in real estate, there is this sort of architectural component that I find quite beautiful. And then there are, you're hawking your wares. And so it has to be elevated, I think, for people to be captured. So for me personally, it was trying to differentiate the everyday, which then became part of how we stamped everything. Everything became, and to your point, I think, consistency. Now, every morning we do an inspirational post, and I love staircases. I don't know why. They just catch my eye. They're amazing. There's these crazy, cool, from early part of the century to modern, and people send them in and make a comment. And so now we take them and post them. And I think that speaks to the fact that the consistency of time, and it takes time to build it. It's not rocket science, but there is a discipline to doing it.
Yes.
And I have to disagree on one thing. I don't have the bandwidth to do every platform, but you can sync it so it's posting on all your platforms. And then you can test and see where you're getting the most impact, because you can track on your SEO or search engine optimization where exactly you're impacting and what time. And so it can become quite effective. But before we became a digital landscape in 2006, when I started, it was more about how it was presented through photography and collateral and editorial, and getting in front of people that it's not paid advertising, it's editorial, it's super competitive, but it comes across to the prospective client as an unbiased opinion from a third party, which ultimately the game of sales is to differentiate yourself. The whole point of this is to set up what is separating you from everybody else.
Yes.
Brand is about crystallizing the essence of what you imagine your business to be. And the point of a brand is to have that be emblematic of you. And it takes time, but I was quite brazen, and it stayed quite consistent. The only changes were colors. I noticed that certain colors arrested people and certain colors shut people down. It was just really interesting to me.
All right, 1 point each because we're going to get the hook. We got a bunch of rule breakers in here because it's a room full of realtors. What should they absolutely not do? Like, Francis, let's start with you. One quick thing. What's like the fastest way to ruin a brand?
So there's a fine line between faking it till you're making it and trying to be someone you're not. It's okay to want to be that, but it has to be intrinsically part of who you are. Meaning you have to have chutzpah without dishonesty or an ego that turns people off. Don't be what you're not, because people can't relate to you, and then you lose your client base, in my opinion.
Love that. You guys get some notes? Good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, picture? Good.